The sharp scent of bleach cut through the stillness of the naval training base, lingering in the empty hallway as the night shift janitor pushed his mop across the glossy floor. His reflection shimmered in the soapy puddles beneath his feet, broken by each careful stroke. From somewhere down the hall, bursts of laughter from young recruits drifted through the hum of fluorescent lights, a sound that felt distant and almost unreal. To them, he was nothing more than a shadow in a faded blue uniform, silently cleaning up after their chaos, collecting scraps of paper and empty soda cans. But if anyone had paused, even for a second, they might have noticed the way his shoulders stiffened as he passed the SEAL insignia etched into the wall. Like some buried memory had been stirred awake. His name tag read Daniel Carter, yet years ago, he answered to a different name whispered in hushed tones across battlefields, over radios crackling with gunfire, a name that carried fear and respect in equal measure. Lone Eagle, if you believe in second chances, in the quiet courage of people trying to do good, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because this isn't just a story of who Daniel was, it's about who he chooses to be when the world moves on without him. Once, his life was defined by impossible missions, secret codes, and bros in arms he would have followed anywhere. He was a Navy SEAL, among the elite, the kind of man who volunteered for the dangers no one else would touch. But war leaves scars unseen, deep in the soul. And his last mission, the one that changed everything, the last mission had gone horribly wrong, leaving scars that reached far beyond his career. It had cost him his brothers, his peace, and the life he once knew. When his wife passed shortly after, leaving behind a 6-year-old boy named Eli, Daniel finally hung up his uniform for good. He swapped the roar of the ocean for the squeak of a mop bucket, the echo of gunfire for the soft sound of his son's laughter. He chose the janitor job at the naval base not for the paycheck, but because it gave him a thread of connection to a life he could never truly leave behind, a place where discipline still mattered, where order wasn't just a word. Every day, he swept the same hallways where young heroes were forged, the same polished floors that once thundered beneath his boots during grueling training. He didn't mind the stares or the whispers that followed him to the recruits. He was just a tired man with rough hands and a limp. They didn't see the medals tucked away in a drawer, the folded flag he kissed every Memorial Day, or the weight of memories pressing on his shoulders. To them, he was invisible janitor, nothing more, until the day that would change everything. It was inspection day, and Admiral James Holloway, a man whose iron will and cold stare had earned him both fear and respect, was making his rounds. Daniel was mopping the corridor outside the command office when the Admiral approached, flanked by officers. Each click of Holloway's polished shoes against the floor seemed to echo like a drumbeat, and when his gaze landed on Daniel, something shifted. The Admiral's gaze swept over Daniel's worn mop and streaked grey hair. A mocking grin tugged at his lips as he said to the officers beside him, "Careful, men. We've got a warrior here. What's your call sign, janitor?" One officer sneered, and a ripple of laughter followed. For a fleeting second, Daniel felt the old instinct to ignore it, to let the jeers roll off his back as he had learned long ago. But something, a flicker of memory of his fallen brothers, or perhaps a pride that never truly dies, made him pause. He straightened, squared his shoulders, and met the Admiral's eyes. "Lone Eagle, sir," he said quietly. The laughter died instantly. The Admiral froze mid-step. Silence swallowed the corridor. Every officer noticed the shift, the sudden pallor in Holloway's face, the disbelief etched in the tight line of his lips. Lone Eagle wasn't just any name. It belonged to a legend. SEAL who, according to classified reports, had held off an ambush in Kandahar alone, saving an entire team when their position was compromised. The same lone eagle who had vanished from all service records afterward, presumed dead. And now that ghost stood before them, wielding a mop. For the first time, Holloway saluted. The gesture was stiff, almost reverent. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" Daniel asked softly, eyes lowered. Holloway nodded slowly. Daniel's voice trembled, but carried a quiet strength. "We all make choices. Some of us stay in the fight. Some of us choose peace. I've got a boy to raise now. That's my mission." Without another word, he turned back to his mop, sweeping the floor as if nothing had happened. Word spread like wildfire across the base. Recruits who had once ignored him now straightened as he passed. Some saluted quietly, unsure if it was appropriate. And yet for Daniel, nothing really changed. His paycheck remained the same. The hallways still gleamed under his mop, and the quiet rhythm of his life continued. But now, everyone knew the story hidden behind the janitor's eyes. The night was still the same, quiet and unassuming, yet something inside Daniel had shifted. The weight he'd carried for years, the guilt, the loss, the endless questions started to ease. He realized that even if the world had forgotten him, honor wasn't something anyone could take away. A few days later, the Admiral found him again. This time, there was no mockery, only purpose. Holloway handed him a neatly folded letter, the Navy SEAL emblem stamped on top. It was an offer of reinstatement, an honorary recognition for deeds that had never officially existed on paper. Daniel looked at it, then shook his head with a quiet smile. "Sir, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," he said. Holloway paused, studying him, then nodded, respect finally softening his stern expression. "Then the Navy owes you more than a medal, lone eagle. It owes you gratitude." Life began to bloom in small, steady ways. Daniel started guiding recruits in secret, offering quiet counsel, showing them how to tie a flawless knot, read the wind before a jump, or stay calm under pressure. He never boasted, never revealed who he once was. To the recruits, he was just Mr. Carter, but they listened like soldiers hearing whispers of legend. When they graduated, they often left tokens, a coin, a folded note, a whispered thank you, signs that they knew and they honored it. Eli, his 6-year-old son, would wait outside the base after school, backpack bouncing against his tiny frame. Daniel would scoop him up, their laughter ringing across the parking lot. One evening, Eli asked softly, "Dad, why do they call you Lone Eagle?" Daniel paused, looking into his son's wide, curious eyes. "Because sometimes, buddy, you fly alone, so others can make it home." That night, as he watched Eli sleep, the medals tucked away in the drawer no longer felt like burdens. They were memories, reminders that even broken wings can still shelter someone else. He didn't need the uniform anymore. He was still a protector, still a fighter, just for a different kind of mission. If this story touched your heart, share it, like it, and comment so more people remember. Heroes don't always wear medals. Sometimes they carry mops, raise children, and keep their honor alive quietly. And before this story ends, drop a comment below to honor every unsung hero standing tall in silence. In a world that celebrates noise, it's the quiet ones, like Lone Eagle, whose echoes never fade.